Hello, everyone. My name is Austin Dunlap. I have decided to do my argumentative piece on President Joe Biden should not be reelected in 2024. Before President Joe Biden became president, he started off in the U.S. Senate. He was the sixth youngest U.S. senator to be sworn into the position at the age of 29. He ended up being reelected 6 times and served a total of 36 years for Delaware. One of his major accomplishments is he raised the penalties for violence against women and brought more into the light of day domestic and sexual assaults. After he left the U.S. Senate, he was vice president to President Barack Obama for 8 years. And in 2021, he became the oldest president of the United States, with the first female vice president and first African American vice president. Even though President Biden's time in the Senate and time as vice president went rather well, since he's been president, he has had a lot of negative effects on the U.S. and foreign policy. The first major impact that President Biden has had is inflation. Inflation during Trump's presidency, was at a high of 2.3% and a low of 1.4%. If you don't know what inflation is when prices or things have a persistent increase, which is caused by greater demands for goods than the supply for the goods. Currently, this was actually in January, the inflation percentage was 8.2%, which is the highest it's been in 40 years. And it is estimated that means monthly, the average person is going to be spending between $250 and $300 extra a month because of the inflation. One thing that a lot of people can easily recognize is the increase in gas prices. This is because of inflation. Before President Biden was in office, the gas prices were at some of its lowest since before Trump's time in office, at $1.77. As you can see on this graph, the gas prices as of May 1st are $3.60. So it's gone up about 1.5 times, or just about doubled, I guess is the better way to say it. Another way that a lot of people are able to see inflation is in food, and one of the most common foods is eggs. This graph shows the price of eggs over the last, 27 years. In 2022, the price of eggs is over $4. Through most of Biden's presidency, as well as most of Obama's presidency, as well as Trump's presidency, the price of eggs was actually under $2, with only 2014 and 2015 being above $2. This affects everybody because it means that the monthly price of everything is going up. This is one of the major things that Biden has had a lot of criticism for, is the inflation rate, which is huge. An extra $300 a month over 4 years is a lot of money. Next problem that has come into play is interest rates. Interest rates being up is a large problem because as of March of 2022, the interest rate percentage was 0. Currently, the interest rate percentage actually just went up to 5.25%. Some say this ends up evening out this is supposed to help inflation. But a lot of the people that are middle to lower class end up getting hurt by this a lot more than the rich people, because rich people can just pay out of pocket for everything. Middle to lower class have to borrow money to be able to buy things like houses, cars, even credit card payments, and that kind of thing. The next thing that Biden has had trouble with is immigration. Trump had put a lot of policies into place to stop illegal immigration, a lot of which people don't necessarily agree with. But Biden ended up getting rid of just about every policy Trump put into place, some of which were actually good. Because of that, there has been an increase in people trying to get across to the United States from Mexico illegally. To date, since Biden's presidency, there has been 4.9 million caught illegal immigrants. And then those are just the caught people. They estimate about 900,000 people have gotten across into America without any repercussions. One of the main policies that Biden got rid of was being able to send illegal immigrants back to Mexico. That is now not a thing. Another major point during Biden's presidency was he wanted to reunite America and bring America closer together. During my research for this subject, a lot of the professionals say that the United States is the most split it's been. People are very loyal to their sides, but basically hate the opposite side. So Democrats hate Republicans hate the Democrats, which is something that Biden has said he wanted to fix, but hasn't been fixed. The next thing is this guy, which a lot of people recognize. This is Vladimir Putin. He is the leader of Russia. During the early days of Biden's presidency, President Biden called Vladimir Putin a killer who has no soul. Most of us wouldn't say that to someone we dislike, let alone someone who is in control of one of the most powerful countries in the world. I would think we would want to reunite or get closer to this country rather than trying to push them away. Next, we have the backing out of Afghanistan. This is something else that Biden did in the early days of his presidency. During the leaving of Afghanistan, there was a lot of equipment left behind that ended up being taken by the Taliban. This was just one Air Force base where they left all this stuff behind. It was 43 helicopters, or MD 530 helicopters, 33 Blackhawks, 23 light attack planes, 32 other helicopters. Hercules is like a mass, moving of troops plane. These were all left behind. This picture is of 13 U.S. citizens that were coming back from Afghanistan. They were actually in the airport, ready to fly back, when a suicide bomber blew up and killed all 13 of these military people. That is the highest casualty rate in the decade before that of a 20-year war. That was the most people that had died in Afghanistan, was a few days before the entire evacuation of Afghanistan. There also wasn't any retaliation by the U.S. for this. These guys were almost about to come home, and they never made it home because we just decided to just leave Afghanistan. This is a picture of the European Union. One thing that came up a lot was that Europe is trying to separate itself more from the United States, um, because the United States has always had a pretty large power in Europe, but they want to more get away from us. Biden wants to have more power over Europe, is something that was stated, um, which we would just want to be on the same page as the European Union because they are our allies. So we would rather find some sort of compromise than rather just have more power or not be associated with them at all. My last point is old age. Joe Biden is currently the oldest US president. If he completed his second term in office, he would be the age of 86. One thing I compare that to is the average age of retirement is actually 65, as well as the average time of death is 73. Meaning most people have been retired for 20 years, and the average person has died 10 years before he would have completed 2 terms in the presidency. Another thing that comes up a lot is that presidents age a lot faster while in office. You can see that whether through pictures of the beginning and after of them being in office. Professionals say that the mind is more cluttered in old age and can't respond as quickly, which are 2 things that are very important for a president. If we are in time of crisis, we are present to be able to act. If he can't act in that way, it could end up hurting America as a whole. The other thing is he has a lot of trouble in his speeches, which can show signs of cognitive ability decline. In one speech, he even confused his wife for his sister. In conclusion, I would just like to say everybody should go vote in 2024. I don't really have a preference for who you should vote for. I just don't think that you should be voting for President Biden. Thank you guys for listening.